on. Okay. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Paulina podcast. I'm your host, Linder. Um, got a few announcements to make real quick before I get into my topics. Gonna be bringing on another person to help us with the podcast, kind of jump in and give a little bit of extra commentary. Um, Another thing is we're going to be streaming on other platforms here soon. I'm trying to get my account set up so I'll have a wider range of putting my podcast out there. And yeah, just hit that like button, subscribe, check out my other content. I'll put up links in the video. Um, don't have any merch yet. That'll be coming very much into the future. Don't know how that's gonna go. Okay. Without further ado, let's get into these topics. The first thing I wanted to talk about was the moon launch. That thing is, I can't wait to see what a lot of people are gonna say about it. It's interesting what people are saying now. Um, the next topic I wanted to get into was the more on the political side, the Trump signing his first day. He signed an executive order banning birthright citizenship. He's attending oral arguments today, and at the U.S. Supreme Court regarding that very same law. So I'll talk a little bit about that. I'll give my personal experience as someone who was born with birthright citizenship. Because my mother is an immigrant and she gave birth to me here prior to her getting herself her her credentials and all that. So I'll touch a little bit on that. I also wanted to touch on the Don Lemon piece that the New York Post put out. He's claiming he's thinking about running for president and that he might do better than Trump. So we'll get into those. But again, hit that like button if you haven't. Subscribe and check out my other content. Without further ado, let's get into this. So today is April 1st. And today happens to also be the day that NASA decided that is the perfect conditions for moon launch. And I can't help but to predict and just already start guessing that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be glued to. I mean, I would hope so. I would hope that the critics and the skeptics are going to be glued to their TV tonight, trying to find the fake video or the oh look, his arm's not in the photo, or his arm's not in the video, it must be fake. I predict that the level of scrutiny is going to be off the charts, and the main proponents are going to be the conspiracy nuts that are out there saying that the Earth is flat and that we can never leave Earth and that all this is fake and this is just one big show. Now, I wanted to touch a little bit on the idea that they even though that this is completely scientific and this is the space exploration and all this, you can still see how it's being manipulated politically. The first hint I got of this was the idea of launching a moon mission during some intense times in the Middle East. I mean, I'm not trying to give, our enemies a good idea, but I mean, I think it's a pretty bad idea to do such a historic moon launch when there are bombs being dropped and just right across that ocean. When we're talking about a moon landing and a moon launch that literally the whole world is listening to, the whole world is going to tune in. It's not just going to be us watching. India's gonna tune in. China's gonna tune in. Oh, they're going to the moon. Oh man, let me see how they do. They're gonna be tuning in. You thinking the enemies aren't? The enemies are gonna be tuning in too. You know what I mean? They're gonna be looking at that's an easy target. Unless they're gonna be flying with F whatever the Raptor jets on the side of the damn ship, to protect it. But damn, that's some pretty scary shit to be launched into space while there's a war going on over there. ICBMs are being used across the ocean, and we're going to launch one with humans up to the moon real quick. All that's going on. Let me just launch this moon launch real quick. I don't know. It just seems a little too dangerous. It seems like it's probably in like aerial wise, like in the air, it's probably the worst time to be launching anything. The other thing is the choice of people. Even then, even with everything that was said about DEI and all this, and this is inclusivity, which again, I don't care who ends up being qualified. But just the fact that you chose a woman, an African American, and 2 white guys, I bet there's going to be a whole bunch of people saying, oh, yeah, look, that's our diverse country. But at the same time, there's going to be people saying, oh, look, there's going to be a woman going into space. We finally made it to space, but they don't know that we've already had women astronauts already in the past that's been shot up into space. One was stuck up there for months. Couldn't get her down. Got her down finally. She's earthbound now. But I just know that a lot of these things, like the demographics of the people who went there, are going to be taken into context. Someone's going to write a piece saying, "Oh my God, look at the unity." When in reality, you shouldn't even be paying attention to. And I know I am. I know this is kind of a circular thing. I'm just saying that these are the things that people are going to point out, especially the left, especially the liberals. They're going to point out, "Oh my God, we made it. This is it." When in reality the qualifications were done not through their race or gender. The qualifications were done objectively. Do you have the qualifications for this? And they met all the qualifications. Not because they're black, not because she's a woman, The crux of all this is the timing. It's on April Fool's. It's obviously going to be ridiculed for this. People are obviously going to go out there and say, "Oh my God, they chose April Fool's to launch one of the most controversial destinations that we've ever dealt with." It's been the topic of so many debates, and NASA chooses April Fool's to launch a very historic and very much a big deal freaking space launch. I mean, are you trying to get the conspiracy nuts at your door? Are you trying to have them go crazy with this? Is this intentional? What's the whole deal with April 1st? At first, I heard they were going to launch in March. I get that. There was a few shutdowns, a few scrubs. Get it. Got it. April 1st? I mean, man, I wouldn't have chosen April. I would have waited. Even if it's, I would have stayed away from that day. I don't know. I don't know. That's just me. I do care about the court of public opinion. I do know what they're going to say. And just to avoid all that cloud, I won't even bother with that day. But of course, they put all of that above. They put science above all. They understand that this is the opening that they have. And taking off my conspiracy theory hat, in reality, this is the best date that they have. So the opening that they have is on April 1st. Can't really argue with that because of the joint effort that it takes. It's not just space people. It's the climate people. It's the Earth people. It's a lot of people. In a joint effort to try to get the best. When will be the best conditions to do this? So they came up with April 1st. you know, not the. I wouldn't say it's the most convenient one for them. But their last press conference, someone already asked. During the last press conference, a guy jumped up and said, "Hey, is this a prank? Like, are you guys really gonna do this? And can you blame the guy? All the speculation and the way that people have been criticizing NASA. I mean, there are people out there that are saying, I don't even know how to articulate this, but there are people out there that are saying that space is gay, like literally gay, like homosexual, and it's satanic. Like, I don't even know how to, like, my brain doesn't process that. Like, my brain tells me you're just talking gibberish. I don't know what that means. Even if I try um even if I try to, I don't know. I guess decipher the interpretations. I still come up short when I hear Earth is gay or space is gay, and that NASA is I don't even know. Satanic. So if you're saying that NASA is satanic, then that means that you're saying that all the scientists that work there are satanic. And if you're saying that all the scientists that are working there are satanic, you're saying that every branch of science is satanic. And if you're saying that every branch of science is satanic, you're basically just dismissing science because you believe that it's somehow being created from a satanic source, an evil source that's telling us, hey, this is what physics is. So physics is satanic. So math is satanic. So all of this would be satanic because that's what's comprised in NASA is mathematicians, physicians, all of these people that study way the fuck harder than a lot of other fucking people do. Literally, their life is research. Literally, their life is research. And not media research, because media research is different. I can read an article and be like, yeah, I get this. Can you do that with an equation? Can you just read an equation and be like, yeah, I get that? No, you can't. You can't do that. These guys are fucking smart. They go to years of school just to be just as smart as the other physician. And they collectively get together and we call that science. They collectively get together, share ideas, and they're the ones that, while you may not have to take everything at face value, but I mean, at the same time, you have to understand that these people go to school. I'm the first one to say, hey, man, you shouldn't take a doctor's first opinion. You should get a second opinion always. That doesn't mean that the first doctor that gave you an opinion is any dumber. I don't think they allowed dumb doctors to be doctors. I don't think that's the case. They allowed corrupt doctors to be doctors. That's different. But bad doctors, they can't. They have to fail the test. If they pass the tests for 8 years, they're all right. They're all right. That's all I'm saying. Now, another thing I wanted to get into with the space launch was the mission itself. So they're going. A lot of people are also taking this out of proportion. They're saying that, oh, this must be a lie because they're saying that this will be the first time that humans have ever been the furthest in space. And people are going to say, oh, well, I thought we already been there. Well, we have. However, they're going to the they're flying around the moon. So they're going to see the backside of the moon and come around the other side. That's the furthest. We've been to the front of the moon. We've landed on the front of the moon. This will be the furthest that humans have ever gone out, away, like distance-wise from Earth. So when people say, oh, it must be a lie, no, you're not paying attention to what they're telling you. You're just listening and getting triggered by the fact that they're saying, oh, this is the furthest we've ever been. And you stop there. Keep going. Keep listening to what they're saying. You know what I mean? You'll learn a lot more. Let's see. But yeah, no, that's pretty much all I had for the moon launch. Okay. Let's get into our next topic here. I wanted to get into the Trump and the immigration and the birthright citizenship. I don't have an issue with getting rid of this. I actually, even though I myself gained citizenship via birthright citizenship, my mom did everything the right way. She got in line, waited years. It takes years. Now, granted, she waited here, but she was not a got-away. She was not a got-away. My mom, I remember seeing in the inside of many courtrooms as a kid, as a young kid, So it's not that my mother was hiding. It's not that my mother was in escaping the government or whatever. No, she did everything the right way, and they gave her citizenship eventually. I got my citizenship when I was born. That's what the birthright citizenship is. However, this was in the 90s. This is my point that I'm trying to make, is that, yeah, this was in the 90s, and it was a different time in the 90s. Right now, the massive amounts of people that are coming through the border, that's a national security issue. That was not the case in the 90s. It was not the case in the 90s. In fact, while a lot of people were still fighting against immigration, the people that were doing it the right way never cared. The people that did it the right way never cared about what the news was talking about immigration, because they were good. That's really all I have to say about that. Is honestly, if you did things the right way, you have nothing to worry about. You have nothing to worry about. Everything is going to be just fine. This that people are trying to do here, they're trying to find a loophole into citizenship. When you're blatantly trying to manipulate a government into giving you citizenship, they're just going to shut down the whole thing. And unfortunately, that's a result of the problem. That's a result of the problem. That's not Trump did this. No. Trump did no. This is reactionary to the already state that was so during the Biden administration. That state where the border was completely the fuck open. What's the remedy? Well, hard laws. We're getting rid of programs that people can find loopholes in. That's the idea. It's not, the big bad orange man trying to exert his king-like power. No, man. People are abusive. They abuse the system to try to get into the country because they don't want to pay, because they want to do things the easy way. They want the citizenship, but they don't want the duties and the responsibilities that come with that citizenship. They just want to be called American, and that's it. Well, rude awakening, buddy. It's not how it works in any fucking country. The only thing is that we've been soft on immigration. That's the issue. And now we're not. And now people are like gasping. Oh, People are gasping. Oh my God. Oh, gasp. How could you do that? How could you pull that person out of their house? That person was working. They say, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, they're here illegally, but they never committed a crime. That's a non-argument. Like, that doesn't follow. It's literally a contradiction when you say, yes, they're here illegally, but they've never committed a crime. Here illegally is a crime. That's the first crime they committed. And people are pulling this shit up, and it's criminal. It is not civil. Criminal. Look it up. Look it up. You know? I completely agree with the getting rid of it. I do not fight it. The only reason why I don't fight it is because a lot of people in this era and during this time are very emotional, and they act on that. They are guilty of emotional politics, emotion politics, however the hell you want to frame it. But they create policy, or they, or reject policy based on emotion, not on objectivity. And that's a problem, because now no matter what you do with immigration, it's always going to look bad. It's always going to be a bad thing. Doesn't matter how you do it, unless you let everybody in, willy-nilly, and put a big fat sign that says fucking come on in, all fair game. People are going to be fucking unsatisfied. But what they don't know is what that reality looks like. That's what they don't know. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're advocating for. They think they know, but they don't know. You want open borders? You want immigration policy to be loose? Is that what you really want? You want anybody, and I mean anybody. People think I'm talking about Mexicans. I'm talking about anybody. Anybody. It can be a Russian. It can be a Cuban. It can be an Arab. It can be a Chinese man. It can be a Japanese man. It can be an Indian man. It can be a Pakistani man. It could be an Afghanistan man. These are all people that can come through the borders who don't like us. Some of those countries may like us. I'm just saying anybody can come in. And that's what people want. But you don't. Because the first people that will start saying, oh my God, people are attacking this country, no one's doing anything about it. This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted. You wanted people to come over here and say, hey, we don't like the way that you're you don't like the way that we're handling things. Okay. If you don't like the way that people are being treated here, you shouldn't be telling people to fight back. You should be telling people to leave. The way that the left and the liberals talk about this country, it's like they should be warning people to leave. They say, oh, this country, you're gonna get subjugated, and it's like, wow, that's a strong claim. In this country, you're gonna be mistreated by another race. That's an intense claim. What you're saying is intense. These aren't just light terms that we're talking about. You should be warning people to leave this country. You should be telling people before you come in here, there is some shit you need to know. The way that they talk about the country is like, yo, we are the, forget the jihads and the Hezbollah and all these people, that we're the number one terrorists. If that's the case, if that is so, if this country is full of Nazis, communists, fucking dictators that are trying to take over the world, why in the hell would you, one, stay here, two, keep telling people to come here, or tell them to fix the immigration problem? You should be like, yo, shut that shit down and start sending people away, because you don't want them here. Why would you want to bring people to a country that you're getting treated oh so badly? Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. Now, if you remove emotion from it and you say, hey, look, I know we need immigration. However, the methods in which they're trying to mitigate this are terrible. I can agree to that. I can be like, yeah, you know what? What they're doing right now is, it's scary. It's a scary thing. I would agree that maybe, their tactics are a little rough around the edges, because I'm not going to fully concede that this is no. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Their methods might be a little bit, okay, maybe you shouldn't bear spray that guy in the face. However, you still have a duty to take the people out of the country that don't belong here. Immigration. Signing an executive order that takes away birthright citizenship, it's closing a loophole that the immigrants use to still surpass whatever border policies they need to get around just to get through that damn line. Well, my wife's pregnant, I gotta have this baby, and they come and have this baby here, and now the baby has citizenship, and of course they're gonna give the mother some kind of citizenship. But was it planned? That's the issue. Was it planned? We didn't come from Mexico. We came from an island. So our departure had to be planned because we had to be accepted into an American airport. An airport had to check us out and process us. You know what I'm saying? So we were in the system from the get-go. That doesn't happen in the border. When you look at images from the border, you're like, oh shit, these people are just like walking in. These people are just basically saying, you know what? I don't want to live here no more. I'm going to go over there. And they just get their shit, get up, go, park, live for 20 years, and then say, hey, man, I never committed a crime. Well, no, you're right. You didn't commit any more crimes. You committed one, which was everything. Now, if you would have committed another crime, best believe they had your ass out of here quick. It was just harder to find the person because they didn't commit any more crimes after coming into the country illegally. That's what people should be saying. That's how people should be framing this. Not, they're innocent. No, they're trespassing. Is it a death sentence? No, it's not a death sentence, but they're trespassing. Yeah, that's literally what the definition of having a border is that people who don't belong here and can't prove that they live here are not here legally. Because if you can't even show an officer a visa that says you have the ability to work here, you're here legally. That's the part that a lot of people are having a hard time swallowing. And I'm just like, yo, so fuck the law is what you're saying? Like, I don't get it. I don't get the what. Okay. If people were to look at me and tell me, hey man, you have to have more sympathy for these people, I will say I agree. I have a heart and I'm human. Of course, I have sympathy for people that are trying to find a better place to live. What kind of person would I be to encourage an immigrant to, take your baby, strap him on your back and swim across that Rio Grande and just hop across the border. Just make sure to run fast. The agents can get you. They got dogs. What kind of person would I fucking be to tell them to do that? You're going to send them to their deaths? No. Just no. No. That's just wrong. It's more of a moral argument. If you want to get moral with me, the first thing I'll say is yeah, you want to put that kid on that lady's back and shoot him across the damn Rio Grande. You think that's moral? It's not. Telling them to get in line is moral. Telling them to follow the rules is moral. That's moral. Not sending them to their death. They're finding dead kids at the Rio Grande. That's immoral. Sorry that there's a wall there because we're trying to enforce our freaking borders because people are just waltzing through. You know what I'm saying? You can't just say, have sympathy, but then on the same token send these people to their death. It makes no sense. It just makes no sense to me. You know, and a lot of people are telling me, but you gotta have sympathy. And it's like, okay, well, how does that sympathy look? How does that sympathy look? Ask yourselves that question. How the fuck does that sympathy look? Does it look with me saying, yeah, sure, do it, jump? No, dude. I'm gonna tell you to get in line. You know. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the immigration, and Trump signing or Trump attending those oral arguments for the executive order that he signed. Let's get into the next topic here. I have an article from the New York. I have an article from the New York Post. Talking about Don Lemon. The guy made headlines when he left CNN. He made headlines again with that whole Elon Musk debacle. And then he was making headlines again, looking like a desperate journalist outside of these events, pressuring people or pushing people to talk to him. And now the latest is that he's on his platform spewing things about him becoming president, how he's entertaining the idea of him becoming president, and that he might do a better job than Trump. Here's the issue. Here's the issue with all of that. Okay. Don Lemon. One, I'm not even going to touch on his personal life because that's too easy. It's way too easy to say, he's a gay dude. There's not going to be a gay dude in president. But I'll say this. Anybody who sits there and says publicly that they think that they can do a better job than the sitting president has no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I don't care about your demographics. One, people aren't going to vote for it, so whatever. But you honestly expect people to take you seriously. When you say, well, I think I could do a better job than him, then why didn't you? Why didn't you run? Are you going to run now? Or you think that now would be the best time? Listen, if you run, look, man, good for you, buddy. But I got a message for Don Lemon. Don't run on hate, man. Don't run hating someone else. Don't start your campaign before you even take off as this political person. Don't make the same mistake that both sides are making right now, man. Make your own campaign. Run on something other than Trump. He's going to be gone anyways, dude. This is all this. All these things are gonna be old news. You know, you're gonna run on Trump when Trump leaves office. Your campaign is just gonna be you hating Trump. Run on something else, man. Don't start it off by you saying you think you can do better than this guy. I mean, sure you show your competitiveness, I guess, but you look stupid. You look stupid when you say that. You look stupid when you say, "Oh, well, you know, with my super mind and my CNN brain, I think I can do better than that." No, bro. No. Don't compare yourself to the very same guy you're trying to not be like, or the same guy you're trying to hate. Don't put yourself in the same sentence. Just be the bigger person is my advice to you. That is my advice to Don Lemon. And I am a nobody. That guy's got way more fucking followers than I do. That guy is way more liked than I am. And I'm giving him advice. Yes. Dude, don't run your campaign on hating Trump. It's going to be a baseless campaign. Trump is going to leave office. Your whole campaign, all you're going to be doing was, well, you know, we got to do this because Trump didn't do it. It's not a good look, man. It's really not a good look, especially if you're going to vote or if you want people to vote for you. I would imagine you want most people to vote for you. You know. Now, obviously, you're going to lose a lot of the hardcore Republicans saying, you know, that, some gay black man, blah, 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 whatever. I'm sure you're, but I can tell you this. I'm a reasonable conservative. I think that a lot of my values aren't as hard right as people will say. I would invite conversations with anybody. But honestly, and I'm being so charitable right now, because if people go and read that New York Post, let me tell you something. The New York Post was not very nice to Don Lemon. They berated him and said, "Oh, the publicly fired Don Lemon." They used all this language that just really opened old wounds, you know, with the media and this guy. Which, again, I don't care, but I mean, you go on and to say that you think you could do better than Trump and think people aren't going to talk shit about you. I mean, that's going to be a given, you know. That is hands down going to be a given. Now, that's pretty much all I had to say about that. We'll see what Don Lemon does when he decides to run for president. Okay, let's see. Next topic. Our next topic that we're going to talk about today. Okay, so I think we covered everything. Kind of running out of time here. If I missed a topic, just type in the comments below and I'll add it to the next video. But I think we've reached our time limit here. Well, I guess I'll just give an overall synopsis of, we covered the moon landing. We covered the Trump's executive order signing of the ending of birthright citizenship. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Again, like, subscribe, check me out. I'm going to be trying to get back into the groove of posting every week again, as per my recent move. But yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.